going right now. So we need someone to speed things up for us. This is the wrong. That's the laser. Charges it. Well,
Where's my customer? We're dying yet.
Right now.
Vâng, các bạn ấy đã ăn này là nó mà. Bro, it was on 9, bro. I don't know if it's because I'm basic as come the way, madam.
Bro, Kyle King, did you not see my YouTube video a few videos ago, bro? Sleep under that rock again, man. I told him stop letting you go to sleep under that rock, man. It's not good for your health. They keep giving it back to you, man.
Republicans in the House of Representatives are absolutely losing it right now after a federal judge in New York responded to a letter brief filed by Democratic Congressmember Ro Khanna along with Republican Congressmember Thomas Massie, who's basically been pushed out of the Republican Party in the House.
Hello and welcome. This is Roofamonger, my friends. The Caitlyn trailer for 2XKO has just come out, and I got a few things to say. So, you know how we do trailer breakdowns on the channel, right? I'm in a little bit of a weird position right now, as I was recently at Riot headquarters and played Caitlyn. That said, I'm also not allowed to go into explicit details about certain character mechanics yet. So for the trailer breakdown, what I'm going to be doing is kind of letting the trailer speak for itself, although I'll help turn the volume up a little bit if you catch my drift. I just don't want to do the thing where I'm pretending I've never seen this before because, you know, that's a little silly. I will say Caitlyn's a lot of fun. And yes, that's me saying that, right? You know, the big character player says that Caitlyn's fun. Not the least of which is I think she has incredible synergy with Braum. And you might say, well, how does Braum have synergy with anybody? Braum kind of sucks, right? Well, Braum might be a little bit different after the patch. Let's put it that way. So I think they're super synergistic together. I'll leave it at that for now. And there's a lot of really cool things going on with Caitlyn here. So let's do what we do on the channel here. Let's rewind back to the start and let's go through everything that we can talk about. So to start off, hey, she has her more classical League of Legends inspired look with the big top hat and all that. Although don't worry, Arcane fans, yes, there is an Arcane skin. Now for gameplay, again, I myself cannot go into specifics at the moment, but I can let the trailer speak for itself. And wouldn't you see this, that she has some sort of back roll that can go directly into multiple gunshots. And the gunshots can control a wide variety of angles that you can see. Also, the fact that after the first gunshot going upwards, she can do another kind of roll. So the trailer makes it look like that you can either roll then shoot, or even just shoot then roll after the fact. And then we have a little bit of a blue spark on that second gunshot. Maybe that's a little special because it has an effect and causes a wall bounce. So if you're following along now, gun stuff. And that's going to keep going here because, we have multiple aerial gunshots. And also Caitlyn famous for the traps. And you better believe that's very much in effect. And just like League of Legends, this ain't no Teemo trap where it just pops you and explodes, right? You are stuck. This is a capture state, it would seem. That's what the trailer's showing, right? And from this capture state, she has this backwards kick that can just launch you and then pop you in the air. And again, shoot, cancel into the roll into this blue electric shot that wall bounces. And then using this time from the wall bounce to set up more traps. Avoids the wake up and then uses that roll not to shoot but to attack and knock Ari into the trap and then keep comboing and juggling and then shooting her in the face from there. The roll could also be used for evasion, it would seem from the trailer. And also, given this throw, this is like, I'm sure must be her regular throw, but this is like command grab worthy. It's a gigantic dunk. Very satisfying looking. Now, this next part's interesting. So, Yasuo's dummy goes into the trap, gets knocked down, and then going by what the trailer is presenting to us, it would appear that Caitlyn can manually aim her shots to a degree. We'll slow it down a bit more here, but you can see kind of like a lock-on. You can see her kind of raising the barrel of the rifle to the shot. And here, with the air juggle coming next, after spiking the opponent down after switching sides, you see manually, apparently by the trailer, aiming down. Make of that what...
Dice Bilber es un pero si estás durante más de 200
Don't see that man and have no health.
Certainly no happy chaos auto zoning. And just being the zoning, so we have the traps, we have the gunshots, and then we have this. We have a big old bolt shot, which creates a capture state. Now again, I'm not allowed to go into specifics, although I'm allowed to talk some impressions. And with all these traps and capture states and stuff and the way everything works, the moment I started playing her like a NetherRealm Studios game, like Injustice or Mortal Kombat, that's when she started making more sense to me at this. So capture states for days is what we're getting from the trailer. And then we have the super move. So again, from earlier in the trailer makes it look like she can aim her gun manually. It sure looks like she's calling her shot picking up way out of the sky. Is she manually targeting Alawi? I guess we'll have to look at it and see. And moving on here, we're going to go for Blitzcrank. So unfavorable situation, gets the grab strike, right? And she can just jump and hit him with the grab. Be careful. And again, into shot, then the blue spark shot follow-up, which causes a wall bounce. It's interesting. Set up the trap, which Blitz smartly avoids it. Oh no, whoops, into the trap anyways. So between the rifle and the pistol, she has multiple anti-air angles, so it's not just going to be free to get in on her if she's, not asleep at the wheel. And then there's this. Again, I cannot go into specifics. I have to let the trailer speak for itself. So, what could that be? It's just really hard to guess, right? Now, here is the Arcane skin. Arcane Caitlyn fans, I'm sure you're over the moon. Recreating the outfit from the iconic scene where Han Kiraman gasses all the homeless and poor people in Zon, really winning the battle for hearts and minds. Y'all looking for it. And in our next shot, we would see some shenanigans from the trailer. That trailer would make it look like that her role that we've seen several times can switch sides.
Oh my god.
Meaning lot of potential incentives. And given that we see Chris Brown gets bobbed here, it's typically an overhead sweat. And Amagander that she's dancing that and then she loses that weird shield that I definitely don't know anything about. Now, it might not be a shield to be fair, it could be a Goldler, it could be a it could be an Aegis. It's going to be a problem for something that's already just been bouncing over and over and over. It's just like reflecting all over the place. Unfortunately, I'm just not going to talk about it right now. I'll do that in a later video. So you just have to go back to the trailers and look at how it's confusing. And then go to the other side. And again, it's been a big Steam. So here, Amy Goldberg, here, we're though sort of point blank, right? So, is there a reason to aim beyond just hitting the enemy? Looks cool at a minimum, anyways. Very satisfying, gigantic flex. Also satisfying is cool stuff, right? And apparently, the trailer can just straight up go under projectiles. The link help her with zoning and really wars. Also help with zoning and wars. Look at this. So she jumps up, causes her trap, but then immediately shoots the trap, and it would seem the bullet ricochets off the trap by the trailer and hits the enemy. So it gives her really strong disadvantage of control of zoning. And then there's the fact that she seemingly air dashes afterwards. Not necessarily an Ari style air dash, but she dashes in the air and jumps and hits the enemy after the fact, so make of it what you will. Full conversion from an aerial shot at the bare minimum, which seems
Oh my god.
launches the opponent up. See that jump kick, that kind of swap sides with the enemy we've seen several times. Grounded shot into that air dash again. More conversions. So we keep the combo going. We're going to call his DI assist. And again, we use some unique synergy here. We're going to bounce it back into a wall bounce. Which, maybe not as flashy as some, but it is very on brand. So
What?
Opponent up here, we're changing a shot here.
You hit that side, yeah?
Yeah, just one shot. Right, the big sniper shot. That's exactly the brand of his. That's exactly what you want. That's exactly what we get. So that's really.
Bro, we hit the side of the city. Why the man up on the side there, by the way?
I'll be able to cover her in more depth and detail.
Why the man up on that side there? Me not like that side there now. Sure. You need to go up on the other side.
Trying to put two together. So really, I think that the 20th and 21st would be like this will on the balance pack. And I think specifics again, I think a lot of y'all, especially the fans of the lesser played or just straight up lesser characters in the game, people who are trying to ask for Mari, right? You'll find some fun stuff. And basically, when we're going to go to, I'll cover everything in a long but with Caitlyn and the big pack coming with her, consider this the actual launch of the game. No more early access to the game. It's actually as of time Caitlyn, everything else trumps. On the Switch, it'll be played on console. And in case you're unaware, everything is tied to your account. So if you've already played 2XKO and you've unlocked skins or whatever, and you go on the console, all that stuff will be unlocked for you on console as well. Crossplay and cross progression. And that'll be the case going forward. So if you unlock stuff on console, then later want to switch to PC, you'll still keep everything regardless. So there's a lot more interesting stuff here. A lot of things I can't talk about just yet. Wait for the footage. But cool times are ahead. 2XKO is finally actually coming out after I don't even know how many years it's been. So look forward to it. I am anyways. But that's it, my friends. That's the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. And go out and play some 2XKO. I would say anyways. Might as well just play it.
This is definitely the vibe that you need to go for. I love the fact that it has this leopard print right here on the side. Very bold, with the gold accents. Perfect. Perfect for any occasion. Perfect for every season, especially the fall. Very lightweight on the face. Not super tight either. Like, these are definitely your everyday type of frames.
This is Democracy Watch. Mark, we had a very interesting reaction by federal prosecutors after Ghislaine Maxwell has come out and yet again asked a judge to vacate her conviction, basically to just wipe her conviction away. Can you explain what just happened?
Yeah, this is all very, very strange. And of course, it's happening against the backdrop of the Epstein files and the failure of the Department of Justice to release them on the timetable that federal law, by the way, federal law passed by Republicans in both houses of Congress and signed by the president, have not met. So, Ghislaine Maxwell, like a lot of prisoners in the federal system, have a lot of time on their hands, and they oftentimes write motions to sort of undo their cases. And so Ghislaine Maxwell, in the middle of December, filed which was a pro se motion to vacate her conviction. Pro se means that her lawyer was not involved. Right? This was just her sort of banging out her own legal pleadings and filing them with the court. And she said basically my conviction ought to be set aside, and she attached 148 exhibits. And these exhibits, which we haven't yet seen, are presumably a very, very, very small subset of the larger Epstein files overall. What happens next is frankly perplexing. I'm having a hard time understanding how why this is taking place. But essentially, the federal prosecutors responding to that motion immediately recognized that some of the 148 files that she had attached included victim information. Okay, so that's not unusual. I mean, it shouldn't happen, but it happens when you have pro se prisoners filing motions. So the judge does the responsible thing and takes the pleadings off the file, off the public record, takes those 148 file records and puts them under seal, and says, "Okay, prosecutors, thanks for flagging this. You've got 3 weeks to sort of go through those pleadings and tell us which exhibits should not be on the public record and which ones should be put back on the public record and which ones need to be redacted." So gives them until January 6th. Before January 6th, the government comes forward and says, you know what, we've been very busy. We need a few extra days. We need another week. What's going on in Venezuela? The Department of Justice is on another letter of motion saying actually it worked until February 10th. And I'm sitting here scratching my head thinking, how could it be that all this is until February 10th to review 148 files, 48 documents that have been attached to a pro se prisoner to determine whether or not, which parts of them came down the public record, which ones can be redacted, which ones are just fine as is. And like I said, Brian, what makes all of this very suspicious is that this is 148 documents. It's not like 48,000, it's not 148 million, right? It's 148 documents, and it's a small subset of the Epstein office. This office, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C., has also been filing separately a series of pleadings with the judge signed among others by Dan Blaney and Ken Bondi, delivering blockbuster after blockbuster. Most recently, that only 26% of all Epstein files have been produced, leaving 99.4% unproduced. That's as of early January. And Brian, the last thing I would add is, just so that everyone is up to date, the last time any files were produced pursuant to this federal law that required them all to be produced by December 19th was December 23rd. Right? So, literally since December 23rd, there's been nothing. And now you've got 148 documents that seem to be being sort of withheld and not reviewed, and they get more time until the middle of February. Brian, something's not right.
So the reality is, if this administration isn't capable, these prosecutors are incapable of going through 148 pages, 148 documents, how in the world should we have any confidence that they can go through millions of Epstein files that remain unreleased and that were supposed to be released on December 19th?
And I suspect that's the reason why this on a Sunday afternoon.
Right, so they don't pay attention to it because it exposes the reality of the fact that this administration is not engaged in a good faith effort to actually release these files. If they were, first of all, they would have gotten them released on time. Second of all, they would be slow walking the process to the point where now they need an extra month just to eat 148 documents when you've got billions and billions that need to be released. Yeah, no, that's by the way, 3 weeks to review 148 symptoms, right? Like, so they could have been that, but then when they said we need another week, maybe that's a little suspicious, but whatever. But now to me, to essentially another one. Yeah. I mean, only once, shame on you. Only twice, shame on me. I mean, I don't buy that there is nothing in these 148 records, or that there hasn't just been like a ground stop called on all world, right? Because think about it, we haven't actually we saw Crunchyroll on December 19th, and I think the day after we saw like a rapid succession. Remember, Dawkins put on and then off and then put back on, right? And we haven't seen anything since December 23rd, other than like Todd Blanche and Cam Bondi and the U.S. Attorney and this other Christian here. We haven't seen anything released as part of the main action trial. Also, I'm just thinking if maybe they was on any more releases, which brings us, Brian, to the topic that you and I talked about that should be front page news right now with Legacy Media, which is why don't we have a special event, right? If the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York can't get 148 pages to get a month, that doesn't speak well to the creating Congress deadlines. Ro Khanna, a Democrat, and Tom Massey, a Republican, came forward with a pretty common sense idea, which is how the judge in this case, which is someone else, like a retired judge, to take this process over so they can get rolling. And the attorneys representing Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna in that separate case point to the fact that even notwithstanding the fact that the administration was supposed to release all the files on December 19th, already had a month prior to that.
Why is he jumping?
Another month past that, they still
Let's split up.
released 1% of what they have. So what is that understanding? They can't get so many documents that bit of information, this bit of information surrounding Maxwell, they mentioned getting that in their efforts, Eli, and get a special master. Read this and do that, and again, it is Now, I don't think it says anything like that. Their next plan is going to be kick off of the Super Bowl. I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to take this thing. Yeah. If technology is not yet subscribed, this is exactly what the technology is. If not, is that it refers in his face, but also to speak the fact that a lot of his team are fighting for our democracy on the front lines in the courts where it matters most. So again, the link to the Dr. is right here on the screen, and also in the description of this video. it's worth asking here, do you think that the judges are going to see the slow walking, the purposeful slow walking that's going on? The fact that anytime we have any of these motions or any of these announcements by the DOJ, they just so happen to fall on national holidays or whatever, the most obscure days that they can find on the calendar. Do you think that judges are going to see that and that that's going to have some impact on this presumption of regularity that they've relied on, where, these courts are assuming that the DOJ is acting in good faith, and it's been increasingly clear that they're not?
I mean, the judges can't help but notice that. They also can't help but notice. Let's remember. Let's go through this here. The first deadline was December. It's actually a deadline set by act of Congress.
Yeah.
Okay, that was that deadline.
Which should be enough. I mean, that right there, that's the law. That is the legislation signed into law by the president with unanimous support in the Senate, all but one member of Congress in the House. It should be enough. We should have to go on after that, but go on.
Right? Then we have them tell us on the 24th, again, and we just need a few more weeks. And so to them, that was a deadline, we missed that. The judge sets a deadline for the Maxwell case of January 6th. Unredacted, to let the court know. That deadline gets extended to the 13th because the Department of Justice said they needed a week. And then now they're not meeting that deadline, right? So you meet the January 6th deadline, not meeting the January 13th deadline. Now they need till February 10th. So, the judge, and as I mentioned earlier, we haven't seen any other documents released since the 23rd. So every day that goes by, another day adds to the missing of the December 19th deadline. So I don't think the judge in this case can possibly miss the fact that the Department of Justice here does not seem to have an ability to meet the deadlines that Congress or courts have given them, and is constantly playing the dog ate my homework. Also is constantly shuffling in different numbers. I mean, there were an additional 1 million records as we heard on December 24th. Then there were 5.2 million records. That's what AD reported. They were told on December 31st. On January 5th, it's 2 million more records. It's ever shape-shifting thing. And all this, by the way, on top of, Brian, if you go back to the July 7th letter, by the way, the July 7th, the Monday after July 4th, the July 7th letter, which was kind of what kicked off the whole Epstein files, furor in the legacy media, because that was the letter in which the Department of Justice said we've gone through 300 gigabytes of records. We've gone through all of these records and all of these videos. And by the way, Jeffrey Epstein did it alone. There was no one else involved. Definitely no one, by the way, named, Mike Klein, Donald Trump.
This is how unrecognized high IQ looks in teenagers. Constant overthinking. High IQ minds analyze everything, bored by simple tasks. They feel mentally unstimulated. Always thinking, rarely taking action. Their body is still. Their mind is racing. Struggle to start pointless tasks. They avoid inefficient or illogical tasks. And focus only on personal interests. When they care, they obsess. Feeling misunderstood. High IQ people often feel out of sync with others. Forgetful. Deep thinking pulls attention away from daily tasks.
I should also note, by the way, there was another deadline. January 3rd was the deadline to explain to Congress why they included the redactions that they included. There were redactions that weren't explained, but of course we have 99.4% of the rest of the files that haven't even been released so that they can explain why they made their redactions. So, to your exact point, it's been the DOJ jerking everybody around for months, and anybody who's acting in good faith can recognize that the jerking around will continue in perpetuity because this administration has no intention of following this law. And this is something that we've spoken about before. Donald Trump doesn't have to go ways.
I want to raise a question with you. I'm starting to wonder if the White House just thinks they can tough this out and actually never produce more records.
Totally. They want to have it both ways, where Trump gets the credit for signing this law, and because the pressure was too great. Unanimous support, nearly unanimous support in Congress, and so he signed this thing knowing full well that Pam Bondi understood the assignment, that her job was to slow walk this thing to the ends of the earth. At first, she was only releasing a few thousand documents, and now they can't even get to 148 documents in the course of 2 months. And so if that tells us anything, if we pass this prologue, we have all the information we need to know that we are never going to get the full breadth of these files if they can't even get 100 documents in the course of 60 days. So yeah, of course they've tough it out. And if that means distracting us with threats to take over Venezuela, and then maybe Cuba, maybe Colombia, maybe Cleveland, maybe Panama, then so be it. I mean, there are enough distractions that Donald Trump can figure out to keep everybody looking in a different direction, other than the fact that, that there is a notorious pedophile ring in which he's implicated that reflects really poorly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so, look, scandal that has been on, that where you could just tell he's lost altitude on his base, he's lost altitude on the heavens, obviously the Democrats has been this and every time it comes up, it acts like he's like literally, if there's one thing that sticks to him, just like that. It's the Epstein file. So, look, I hope everyone is subscribed to Brian's channel because he covers the Epstein file day in, day out, and it does not get distracted. I mean, he also covers all the other big news of the day, but this is the guy who is on the audience and a platform like me to great legal analysis.
Well, and to that exact point, I would highly recommend, again, for those who are not yet subscribed to Democracy Docket, now that you've gotten through this video, take the opportunity right now to click the link on the screen and sign up for Democracy Docket. If you will not regret it, it's a resource that I use on a daily basis. Could not recommend it highly enough. I'm Brian Taylor Cohen. I'm Margaret. This is Democracy.
They took advantage of every chance. Player 1 was really fighting a huge win.
What the? Come on. What? What? Look at that body.
That'll give them a psychological advantage.
Bro, he's so dead. See, that's what you call adaptation. GG's. That's what you call adaptation. Eh? Probably put on different character. That's what you want to call what? Adaptation. Adapted to his foolishness, bro.
Yes,
You better have your Sunday's best on because it's time for business. Player 2 takes the round like a thief in the night. What else can they get away with? Jump up. The next round will begin. What's gonna happen now? Hold on. We're going into the final round tied up. Which fighter has a chance to ride out the win?
I think that was it. Well, I don't know how people play. I don't know how people play this character.
What are we going to see transpire between these fights? No one knows, but this is going to be a must-see match. All right, what else can they get away with? Jump in to start the round. They piled up the numbers. Now, how are they going to just that's it. It's so hard to fight against that. This is great. With great Everything from here on out. Pass the right way.
Basta naman na random sa nadudrog. No, I get go. Oh my god. Bro, why the freak would ever grab him? Take too long for grabbing back, son.
Build themselves a streak. Right back into the rematch. Creating a close one. Solid.
Jumped on the undercover move.
Player 1 needs to deal with burnout. Knockdown. Player 1 is maintaining the corner position for some choose. Target locked on scoop. Creating opportunity. Knockdown and Player 2 takes the round with a 19-9. What else did they get away with? Are we going to see play hide and seek? Wrapping it out up close. With great
Oh my god. Oh, minute.
range menu connected to the new Player 2 picks up the as well. That'll give them a psychological advantage.
Wait, forget me something. Never mind. You know I'm black. You know I'm black. You know I'm black. Oh. Oh, he just had jumps like a madman.
in fact, could easily get away with it. Goes for the jump in to start. Goes for the dunk, going the opponent focus. Can't protect the third. Springs forward with the drive on. Drive on to keep it going. And it all here. That's what happens when you capitalize on all of your chances. They choose to win it. Let's get right through it. Big gap between the two fighters. Good job blocking the jump. They're showing up just enough. Player one picks up the first round. That'll give them a psychological advantage. Who is this? They're in the corner now. No one away. Both fighters. Player one. Impeccable and perfect. Well, listen, you're locked in.
Bro, Akuma, I said that too terrible. Akuma too terrible. Bro.